Can she see us now?
As soon as you said there, you're live, a little fruit fly flipping by me. The video says
Can she see us now?
Oh, yep, both of us now. Can you hear me?
Okay, and we have, so if we look at the video, I'm just gonna let you know when we look at the screen that we're going to be, there's gonna be lag time.
Okay.
All right, so I guess we can just go. If we're live, let's do it.
Okay, let's do it.
So welcome everybody to our new moon, and I have Michelle Cookhill today with me. So this is Breakthrough Astrology, and we're going to have some fun tonight talking about the new moon being in tropical as well as in Vedic, and really how they coincide with each other. So whether you're doing tropical or Vedic astrology, it doesn't matter, because the end result comes out to be the same. So I love both systems, to be honest with you. So I think Michelle is going to start us off today. So Michelle.
All right. Welcome to this new moon, you guys. And thank you, Sam, for having me on. I really appreciate it. This is a very, very interesting new moon. Sam and I had just a couple minutes before we started to kind of talk about it a little bit. And we're both kind of like, whoa, this is feeling like a full moon in a lot of ways. This is helping to purge. And, I sat down earlier and did a meditation about, I said, send me some words that aren't normally associated with Virgo, because we hear all the same archetypes, all the time. And I mean, there's so many. But, Virgo is, people say, oh, perfectionism and health. And yeah, it is all that stuff, it's analytical, it's all that stuff and more. But during my meditation, I had some really fascinating words pop up that I've never really been like, those are Virgo words, And so one of the words was sober. Sober as far as addiction, sober as far as your mind, sober as far as clarity. Addictions, that's definitely a Virgo thing. So is it food? Is it sex? Is it heroin? God, I mean, look at the epidemic in our country alone. It's sad, so, I mean, this is a fantastic manifestation moon. That's another thing we'll talk more about, but it is such an amazing moon to manifest what you want to see come to fruition come this full moon, when we have the Virgo full moon in Pisces in 6 months. One of the most fantastic things, one of the first things I think a lot of people should learn when studying astrology is just to work with the lunar cycles. On Instagram, I'm Lunar Girl Musings. My license plate says Lunar Girl. I am a moon child, Cancerian, both in my Vedic as well as tropical charts. So I am definitely ruled by the moon, born on a full moon. I mean, yeah, so that puts sun opposite moon, it's just, the moon means a lot to me. It kind of rules my world sometimes, I feel, it's just one of those things. But this is such a fantastic moon to manifest under, because come that full moon in February 27th, as a matter of fact, when that moon is full, you're gonna see such an amazing difference if you took the time to sit down and write out your intentions. Write out your intentions for this new moon. What would you like the next 6 months to be like? What would you like that end goal when February 27th comes around and the full moon is asking you, What do you want to get rid of? The full moon is also going to be telling you, look what you've done. Look what you've done over these last 6 months. And, chances are, if you're working as damned hard as Sam and I are, you're going to be happy with what you've done. You're going to be happy. But yeah, some of those words, sober, tweak. I got tweak. So not to tweak on drugs. No, that's the opposite of sober. So, to tweak your business, to tweak your routine, to tweak your breakfast. If you're having a 3-egg omelet, maybe it's time to go to a 2-egg omelet and leave off the cheese. Just tweak something. Let's see. I believe that as well, it's getting things straight, making things right, righting wrongs, a reality check. Virgo is reality, as real as it gets. If you go to the doctor and that 6th house Virgo is health, right, is he going to sugarcoat your diagnosis? Do you want him to sugarcoat your diagnosis? Because I don't. So decisions and sorting and like Virgo kind of goes in for the close, if Virgo was a salesperson, Virgo's gonna hi, I'm Michelle. And so do you want to buy that truck? They're not going to pussyfoot around it. Virgo wants to close the deal, so this Virgo new moon is kind of asking you within 6 months, what is your soul's deal? What does your soul want to close and be done with? And how do you want to, this is reinvention time. This really is. Every new moon is reinvention time, but certain new moons, man, I got goosebumps. Everybody that knows me knows what happens when the goosebumps come. She starts channeling, so when that, when that new moon is asking us, come on, spill out your heart's desires to me. Tell the universe how you want to manifest this. And start learning your charts. Start figuring out where your manifestation strengths are. That's some of the stuff Sam and I do on 2 different stages. Her with Vedic more so, but she's a whiz with both, seriously. And she really seamlessly meshes them. When I want to seamlessly mesh Vedic and tropical, I call Sam. Help me put this together. So, that's kind of like a little opening. And then, a couple of the mantras that I came up with. I am completely healed. Sit with that for a minute. Now, what does that mean to you? Does that mean that, for me, I have neuropathy in my feet? For me to be completely healed, I need to feel my feet. I need to feel less pain. But what does it mean to you? Do you get sick to your stomach after you drink coffee? Do you need to heal your gut? Your gut-brain connection is your intuition. It's everything. It works both ways. It's your gut to your brain to your gut. Do you need to heal your heart? What does healing mean to you? But see yourself there. Take a moment and sit with, God, it feels so good to be healed. I am healed. I am already there. So that mantra, that's a very strong Virgo mantra. Another thing that came to mind was, we all go through hard times and we have these moments of clarity while we're going through the hard times. And it's like, I made some progress today, today was a better day kind of thing. And so when I feel that moment, I say to the universe, and my guides, my angels, I call it my spiritual posse, because for me to name them all, it's like, all right, posse, let's do this, you know? But I'm strong enough to hold more light. I'm strong enough to hold more light, meaning that I have given up some of the painful darkness, and it's lifting. So, fill me with more light, allow me to be more love. Because ultimately, that's my goal, is to be kind and loving in any situation. And it's not always possible, and I'm not always good at it, but, fill me up with some more light, because I feel I'm at a spot where I can handle it. And this new moon is that new moon. I feel I love, it's part of it, I think, has to do with Jupiter going direct and sitting across from it. Sitting what is it? It's squaring, isn't it? Squaring all that Capricorn stuff. Yeah. So in Vedic, they don't look at squares and oppositions as like negative things, whereas in tropical, we tend to be like, ooh, that's kind of a hard aspect, so it's, but you're going to talk to a Vedic astrologer, and they're going to say, oh, that's fantastic that it's hitting all that Capricorn energy, and so it's just hold more light, take a moment, and just check in with yourself. Take a big, deep breath. Find the pain in your body. Find the pain in your heart. Find it in your head. And what can you do about it right now? Sometimes the answer is not a fucking thing. And I ain't even willing to do anything with it right now. And then other times, it's like, I got this. What can I can do a lot with this moment, and then jump on it, The other thing was asking for the highest good. Oftentimes we will throw out a wish or an intention, and maybe it's really not for our highest good. It's like, say that my best friend and I had a tiff, and we haven't talked in a couple months. And I want more than anything for us to talk again, because we've been friends for near 50 years, and gosh, we really need to talk. This isn't true, by the way. So, but to say for the higher good, if this friend, fill in the blank, and I are supposed to come to an agreement over this, or if we can make amends, if it's in the control of the higher good, let it be. And try to learn to let stuff go. Now, a Cancer saying that. We are known for holding on for all we are worth. So, for the highest good, like my highest good statement today was, please help me attract people that know their worth. If it's in the highest good for me to attract people into my life that know their worth, please allow it to happen. So, what could be bad about that? So that's kind of my intro to this new moon, without being too astrologically jargony, jargony.
Yeah, a little bit on the Vedic intro to the. Oh, I'm sorry, Michelle.
Oh no, you're fine. I'm done. I'm good.
Okay, so a little bit to the my personal outlook, and from what I'm seeing in Vedic astrology, as well as the tropical, they really do mesh, I think, beautiful together. But this new moon, so what's really extraordinary is what people forget. Sometimes astrologers forget to take the rhythm of the new moons. And our last new moon was in the sign of Leo, the sun, in Vedic. And that's really about creative intelligence. And then the next new moon is now in the sign of Virgo. And Virgo is all about taking that creative intelligence and making it practical, putting it to service. What can you do with it? And so this is where the great manifestation power. So when you're really able to take your ideas that drop down in your crown chakra and creatively think about what you want to do with this idea that was dropped down, from the heavens per se, into your Anja Nakshatra, then how are you actually going to manifest that? And how is it going to be usable and be put to service that's tangible,
Right.
for mankind? And I think a lot of people forget those steps that, when you get your divine ideas, your inspirations, your intuition, then are you running it through your creative intelligence? And then are you running it through the Virgo side? Okay, so I have this idea. How am I going to make it tangible and put it into service? So that's really where this manifestation comes from. And also, another really big key word for Virgo, or sixth house, you guys, it's really about what we're doing every single day in our life. And it's really about how we are taking, every habit that we're doing, how is that bringing us closer to our goals, closer to our agendas? Because without us having those daily habits, bringing us toward our goals, then how do you reach them? I mean, that's how manifestation happens. It doesn't happen, you guys, if you're on the couch and eating potato chips. It
Right.
just
You can write down all of the intentions, and they can sit on your paper.
correct.
And
Correct.
once you write them down, then comes the Virgo side, even more of the Virgo side, the planning. How these are my intentions, and this is how I'm going to get there by February 27th, the full moon in Virgo. That's such a key. Because what is greatest plans of mice and men are, it's like you can have all the plans and you can fill a notebook, but if you're not implementing something towards it every single day, and Virgo is a stickler with that. Virgo's like, so what'd you do for your goals today?
And it's true, but I have to say it's kind of like, and here's a down to earth approach to it. It's kind of like, if you're going to tend to a garden, if you're going to plant a garden, Michelle, are you still talking, or is it my lag?
Nope, I'm not talking.
Oh, okay. It's my lag in my screen. I apologize. It's lagging really bad. But if you're going to plant a garden, then you have to tend to it every single day. Your daily habits and how you value your garden will give you the end results. And this is, I guess, another really important key here. And I was looking at the tropical, but and I'm looking at the Vedic. But another really good key here is, are you living your daily life according to your values? And I'm going to mention that because in tropical astrology, Mercury is in the sign of Libra, which is ruled by Venus. But this is really about, what are you doing that's according to your values? Are you drawing boundaries so you can do what you need to do to accomplish your goals? I mean, what are you doing on every day? So we really want to watch out for that, to make sure that we don't have other people interfering or trying to grab our resources. And I really had to draw some boundaries. Just for an example, real quick, this last week, I really had to draw some boundaries because people want free services all the time. And
it's another thing that you and I talked about, and it goes back to my mantra. about, for the greater good, please put people in my life that know their worth. Because if I don't know my worth, I want everything free.
Right.
If I don't know the worth of an astrology reading or an intuitive reading or whatever I'm purchasing, if I don't know that, gosh, Michelle and Sam, they've studied for years to be able to do these readings. That's what they do for a living, then if you don't appreciate that person's worth and you're just like, well, hey, your rates of $111 an hour are too much. Could you give me a discount? Well, and I'll say, well, what were you thinking? Oh, like $20. You just completely insulted me. You just completely insulted all the hours of study. You're insulting before it's even in your hands, the report, because, it just, how in depth they can get, and I understand if nobody's ever had one, that they might not understand the worth.
Right.
Our worth and the worth that it's going to in turn be for them. Right. But it's, if I kind of try to be nice about it, give them the benefit of the doubt that they just really think that it's no big deal. And then I explain to them, astrology is a really fucking big deal,
It is, but on also we need to make sure that we teach people how to respect us. And I think that's another key point. People need to get used to saying no, and they actually need to really start liking the word no. No is such a positive word. I can't even express it to you guys. No can really save yourself a lot of heartache and a lot of pain. And people are not going to naturally just respect you. You have to teach them that they have to respect you no matter what. So it's really, really up to you. But I'm going to tell you guys what. Here's another secret. I'm going to let out some bombers in this Zoom meeting here. But one of the things you guys really need to learn is who Venus is. And I'm going to tell you what. Venus is not sattvic love. And what do I mean by that? Venus is not a motherly love. There is no motherly love in Venus. Venus likes give and take. It likes equality. Marriages are based into in Libra, right? This is about the scales. This is about equality. When you guys go into a marriage, you better darn well believe it's a business, okay? And it may be
not treating a marriage like a business is a big mistake.
Right, exactly. It's what are you both putting into it? What are you both getting out of it? Is there value? Because I tell you what, if one partner thinks that they're getting cheated in any way, shape, or form, that partner's not going to be happy, and it's going to destroy that partnership and that marriage. And and it's not, and let's not make any judgments here. There could be men out there who want their wives to stay home, and they love that their wife is staying home and their wife is doing such, beautiful job with them and the children, and that is perfectly fine. That is a beautiful situation. Maybe another marriage will look like both parents are working, or, both people are working full time or what have you. But it's because no matter what, somebody's getting something of value out of it, and it's equal.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have anything to say?
What's that?
So do you have anything to add on that? People really misunderstand what marriage is, and they really go in blind, and they misunderstand who Venus is. Don't take Venus lightly. It's not, it's majestic.
Yeah, people are like, oh, Venus is flowers and romance, and Venus is chocolate covered strawberries. And it's like, dude, you've never been drugged by Venus? Venus has never taken you by the back of the hair and drug you through gravel? Because Venus has done me dirty, without a doubt. So, I mean, she's like, pay attention. You paying attention?
Right. And, another couple of key words here with Venus. And I think this is just really important for us because we're talking about business. Remember that Taurus is round by the bull. And I tell you what, and even in Vedic astrology, there's some really harsh stars that are murdering stars. They're really bad stars that are in the sign of Venus. Venus is not just flowers.
Right.
And don't think that the bull cannot get angry and kill it right there on the spot, because it can.
Anybody that has a Taurus friend knows this.
Right. Venus can be very selfish too. It's not just Mars. So right. Venus can hate as much as Venus can love. Let me put it that way. Yin and yang, you guys.
It's all in balance. It all is. I mean, it's gotta be.
But I think we really need to get real, with this new moon coming in, really, I really want to express also here in our Zoom that we need to really be realistic in what we're doing. And one of the things that have just got to stop is that when people think that if somebody is doing some type of quote unquote spiritual work, that it should be free. I don't know who's lied to you, because that's a lie. And I tell you what, you can ask any spiritual person that really is spiritual. A spiritual person is all about taking their intuition, all right, and making it tangible. Because I tell you what, if it's not tangible, if it cannot be used here on earth to get something done, like a cure, for instance, money, business, building, whatever, then it's not any good. What's the worth? So it really is about bringing our spiritual abilities, our spirituality down to earth. You guys, trust me, I don't see any good in going up on a hilltop and living there for 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. What good did that do to society? What child was saved from sex trafficking? What child is, being rescued or saved? Who was cured from a disease? Who was
even closer to even bringing it closer to home? What did you benefit from it? If you're going to go and completely seclude, like we were talking earlier, that's one of the 12th house keywords is seclusion, like being a hermit, that's in the 12th house. So, I mean, what is that doing for the people that you say you love? You might slip them a letter once every 6 months and be like, hey, honey, mama loves you. See you at Christmas or whatever. I'm still on my mountain. I mean, what is it? What is the driving force? Are you living your life with purpose, trying to figure out exactly what your North Node placement means to you? What does that, I'll use myself, for example. In Western, I have a 5th house Taurus North Node. So what does that mean to you? Michelle, are you working towards that childlike happiness? That bringing, not just feeling it, but bringing it out of other people. Before I studied astrology, I mean, that's always, my thing is always, biggest thing has always been, like, if I'm at a party and there's kids and there's adults, you want to find me, look for the kids, because that's where I am. So it's not just about me living my purpose and receiving all the 5th house benefits, but am I giving back to children? Am I making sure that I leave people happier than when they first came to see me? You know, do they leave my house with a smile, or do they leave my, you know, house and go, ooh, that wasn't a good visit? You know, I mean, there's, you know, what is your purpose? Even if it's just, you know, gosh, I don't know my purpose, which was the majority of my life. And still, another Virgo word, reinventing. So I'm at a stage in my life where I'm reinventing myself. Lots of changes going on. And when there's changes, you rise to the occasion and you reinvent. You dig a little deeper than the last time you did your digging. And you push forward towards whatever, you know, your north node, whatever your goal is, whatever, you know, if it's just getting up the next day and getting out of bed and getting showered and you did that, kudos. Because there's some days when that's just not an option. You know, it's like I'm shutting the door, I'm pulling the covers over my head. Today is not happening. But you don't go there for months at a time. You come off the mountain and you do some shit and then you go back and go back under the covers.
Right. But, you know, and here's a really big key, you guys, and because as I said, this is such a manifesting power here, but here's a really, really good key. This is going to go right back into Virgo and also for, you know, Venus. So Venus goes retrograde for 40 days and 40 nights. And it is all through our history, from Greek to Hindu to, you know, just whatever religion. You know, the fasting for 40 days, the Lent for 40 days, right? Venus is retrograde, you guys, for 40 days.
Right.
So when you guys are trying to establish a new habit, a new Mercury thing, a Virgo thing, a new habit, it takes 40 days to break one and establish a new habit. This is really, really significant because I'm going to tell you guys, here's the secret to manifesting. One, that we have to really become aware of what our subconscious is. And if you think you know what your subconscious is, you don't. Nobody does. That's why it's a subconscious. That's why we have astrology or somebody else to point out what's going on. Well, you're self-sabotaging yourself because you don't know that you're doing this, but this is what you're doing. Because if we knew our subconscious, it would be conscious, not subconscious. Now, when it takes not just planning, you set your intention, you're going to change this habit of yours. And in order to change a habit, you have to physically act it out. And that's why it doesn't feel good. It does not feel good. If I'm going to say I'm going to get up every morning at 6 a.m. to jog, and if that's a new habit, the first 40 days, I'll let you guys know it's not going to feel good. It's going to be work. But if I get up and do it for those 40 days, it's actually changing my DNA. Do you understand? It's changing your actual physical body and the way that your brain is programmed. So that's why it doesn't feel good. And once you establish that habit, it gets easier. Now, the other number you guys to look out for is 108, 108. And that, you know, that has a lot of significance. It's really the number of our universe. And this is science. And if you can make it to that 108 with that new habit, on 108 day, you just created a new hypnotic rhythm for yourself. And what does that mean? That means you have now just reprogrammed your subconscious. So now you don't even have to think about it. It's automatically done for you. You can just let it ride and you'll be forever jogging. That's why you see some people be jogging for 20, 30 years unless something significant happens and it breaks that hypnotic rhythm. They're in it for the long run. And that's with anything. So
now there's also 108 Malibis.
Yes. It is the diameter. I think the diameter between the sun and the moon is 108. I think I have it written down, but it was between the moon, the sun, and the earth. There's the distance is 108, or the diameter is 108. I mean, it's literally, you guys, there is 108 lines to your heart chakra. And that 108 lines to the heart chakra, there's a certain name for it, but it actually brings in self-realization. And really, that's what we're trying to do, is self-realization. And of course, this is like totally getting off. I mean, this is a whole nother thing. So let's
we're not off topic. No, I don't think we're off topic at all. I mean, it's all about new moons and manifesting and how to get your shit done.
It really does. And you guys, the physical, doing it every day, I cannot express it enough. When you're doing it every single day, that's what's going to cause the manifestation. Do you understand? This is what causes you to achieve your goals. And when something isn't working out, it doesn't mean that you stop. Do not do that.
Right.
That means you
modify if you have to, but don't stop.
Right. Want your goal, want that, to achieve that with tenacity. That means you grip it with your whole life,
right,
and you don't let go of that. And so if you need to re-strategize, trust me, I've done it, then re-strategize, but keep a hold of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like we were talking earlier before the show, I do have some physical limitations, and they're becoming less and less. However, there's certain days that me getting down on the floor to do yoga is just asking too much. So, you know, it's like, what can you do? You know, you do what you can do. So I modified it to chair yoga. And I'm like, Michelle, give yourself 15 minutes sitting on your balcony in the sun in the morning of 15 minutes of chair yoga. Inevitably, I get out of that chair and I go do yoga on the floor, you know, but the day will come, you know, I'm only a couple weeks into this particular practice, but the day will come when I'll be like, I don't even want to do the chair, but I'll do the 15 minutes in the chair. And if I end up on the floor doing yoga, then fantastic. But if I did those 15 minutes, fantastic. You know, and one of the harsher things I would say of Virgo energy is how hard they can be on themselves. You know, how harsh that Virgo energy judges. The expectations of Virgo energy are, you know, to the moon and back and further sometimes. And just, you know, be gentle with yourself. If it's something that you can't handle, you know, just whoever it is, say, you know what, I really can't deal with being around that many people right now. Or I know that we're scheduled to do a live on such, and I can't even pull my shit together today. So I'm going to have to pass. You know, start cutting yourself some slack and start using phrases like, it was hard for me to even say and out of context, I need help. Oh, God, I'm horrible at that. But, you know, start being a little bit more humble with that Virgo energy versus so rigid and so, you know, I have a Virgo daughter and then a daughter with a Virgo moon. So I have a Virgo sun and a Virgo moon. So my Virgo sun daughter, if it's not perfect from the time she was little, I mean, she used to organize her Legos by color at 2 years old.
And M&Ms.
Did you? Yeah, see, I always did my M&Ms. But yes, I mean, it's like, she'll say, Mother, I blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, so your standard is way up here and you're right here performing, and that's not good enough. Well, no, because there's that. And it's like, what did it take for you to get just there? You know, give yourself the credit, give yourself, you know, the space to heal. I mean, because ultimately, I mean, I have always felt that Virgos are, if Cancers are the first mother of the zodiac, Virgos are the second. And, you know, I also think that each element has a mom, but that's a different day. But I do believe that Virgo has that nurturing, loving, kind mother energy to it at its best. When Virgos are at its best, boy, they can, you know, shine some love and some wisdom and some knowledge bombs on you like none of your other friends. Like, I mean, it's incredible when you really embody that energy and take it for all of what it is. You know, we all have a Virgo mansion. We all have a house in our chart that belongs to Virgo. We all have Nakshatra Virgos, you know. We all have this in our chart. So, I mean, to figure out where it is in your chart, you can download a free chart from astro.com. It's really easy. Just go in, type in your information, and just start looking. Just take a look at your chart. You don't even have to know what you're looking at. But why don't you go ahead and pop up a chart, and we'll go ahead and talk about what's going on with this new moon based on the chart so they can see it.
Okay, I can do that. Do you want me to do tropical or Vedic first?
Do tropical first, just because that's what I'm able to talk about, and then I'll listen.
Let's see, share screen.
One of the things one of the transits right now that jumped out at me when you put the chart up earlier when we were talking.
Yes.
Mercury in Virgo square Jupiter. Mercury in Virgo square Jupiter and Pluto in Capricorn. Now, the reason why this one jumped out at me is Mercury, you know, our thought processes. And when it is squaring Jupiter, I find that it's a time of more questions than answers. So say if that same Mercury in Libra, is Mercury in Libra? All right, here I go.
Mercury is in Libra in the tropical, yes.
So, like, this might help. So with it being in Libra, right?
Yes.
Is that where I'm at?
Yeah, it's in the first house in Libra at 17 degrees.
Okay. With that squaring Jupiter, it says to me, it's not a really big time for answers, which totally sucks to a Virgo in the Virgo energy, because Virgo's like, answer my questions, damn it. But I don't know the answer. I don't find the answer, damn it.
And it's so funny that you say this, Michelle, because I had to tell you that I did a reading yesterday, and I told the person that they don't have their answer now. I said, but you will have it in January. That's just like really amazing that you said that, because it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
And
so you take that same Mercury and you put it trine Jupiter in a favorable aspect. Yeah. That's when the answers are coming. So that's looking to me, to my best guess, that, gosh, that's going to probably be, it's not gonna square it for a while. I mean, it's not going to trine it for a while.
It's not, and that's what, that's why I'm saying we're looking, what, maybe January?
Yeah, no, it's got to be further out than that, because it's going to go.
So it's got to, well, yeah. You know what? We should have looked at this, but hold on. Let me do some calculations here. Let me see what I tried. I'm going to do an animation. I don't know if you can see me doing animation or not.
Yeah, I can see
Oh, you can.
Yeah.
Well, that's like really cool.
Right?
My Mercury skills.
And of course we have, in addition to this, while she's working on figuring out those Mercury dates, the north and south node are squaring this moon. So we have the south node in Gemini, the north node in Gemini, which is information, it's accuracy, it's knowledge. And it's opposite, of course, the south node, which, I have an ascendant that's Sagittarius. In my first house. And Sagittarians aren't known for being quiet. They are known for keeping their opinions to themselves. And when that's your ascendant, you present like a Sagittarius. And so I'm really not known for keeping my opinions to myself. And I'm not, and I wouldn't matter what I was, but but I'm not known for that. But having this south node in my first house, I have been much quieter, much more introspective, much less, I give advice less frequently since this transit. So I see it as being deeply, with Sagittarius being our religion and belief system, or, however you deem that, and with it also being higher knowledge, I see the south node in Sagittarius right now as being such a deep time of learning and of being the observer, and it's really quite comforting, for somebody that is usually the one like leading the pack and, hey, rah, just come by, let's do this. And now it's kind of like, just taking it all in and not wanting to be the teacher, wanting to be the student, and having that square this full moon. I see that as the full moon, new moon. I told you, it feels like it's full. So not having that new moon ask the nodes, therefore asking you, what is the place of the south node in your chart, and what does it mean to you right now? How, does this energy feel? I call myself an intuitive astrologer. I can look at a blank chart with my pendulum, and I can tell you what areas of your life that you're working the hardest in. And the pendulum will go to that axis. How it happens, I really don't know. I just trust it, because it's, sometimes, okay, like for instance, I looked at a friend sent me a chart the other day, and she's a fellow intuitive, and she sent me a chart and said, so this is so-and-so, what do you think? And no, she said her progress chart. She goes, oh, my progress sucks, by the way, or whatever she said. And I was like, I just laughed, because what jumped out at me was something in her ninth house, and I said, I heard in my head, no more white guys.
Oh my goodness.
So I messaged her back and I said, your progress chart says no more white guys. And she's like, can you please help me see that particular aspect? I'm like, that's what I heard when I saw the aspect. So I mean, it's a matter of, for me, it's a matter of connection. And having my south node in Sagittarius right now, I'm learning to connect even intuitively in different ways. And when you're being an intuitive, there's a whole lot of listening going on. You know, I mean, it's like when I'm in intuitive mode, that's all I can do is listen. You know, I take the hollow bone of shamanism, and, you know, I'm a conduit. That information is funneling down through me from your higher self to my higher self, and it's coming out. So it's kind of like, and having it, the North Node in Gemini, you know, it's fantastic channeling energy for me, because it's like, okay, I'm able to listen more with that South Node in Sag, versus I can cut out some of the background noise and funnel in what's coming in through Gemini in that North Node, you know. So it's, and right now it's square in the moon. So when I looked at that aspect, I thought, this is about asking yourself what these nodes mean in these houses to you. You know, so my first and my seventh, my house of self is the South Node, and my house of partnerships is my North Node. You know, the transiting North Node right now. And your focus should always be on yourself. So some people would say, you know, well, that's the South Node. Yes, it's the South Node, but the past talks. So listen, you know, listen to the past and step into the North Node. Take a step closer by listening, because we all know Geminis can talk. You know, so balance that, you know, but I believe, you know, that's, I'm sure scholar and astrologers would look at that aspect completely differently, but what it said to me was, what do these nodes mean? What are you doing to strengthen your first and seventh, for me personally, your first and seventh house, while these nodes are here for these 18 months? You know, that's when the nodes shift, you know, then you reevaluate. What do I need to look at while these nodes are in my chart transiting? What aspects are they making? What are the nodes asking of me? Because I find the moon asks questions the most often, I think, because it moves the quickest. You know, I think that it going through signs every, you know, roughly every 2 days, you know, I think the moon is the one that asks the quick questions. You know, the sun lets you ruminate on them for a month. You know, it's like, I'm going to ask you 12 different questions, because I'm going to go into 12 different signs this month, and the sun is going to hold court. So at the end of this month, when, you know, at the end of each, we call them seasons, Virgo season, and we have it'll be a full moon in Libra for tropical. The full moon won't be in Libra, but it'll be under the sign of Libra, is what I'm saying. What is that sign? What is that sun sign now asking of you based on your chart? And, you know, add that into your manifestation. Because if you can work with these energies, that's one of the things that Sam is teaching with Leveling Up Astrology, is how to work with these energies, how to work with these transits, how, you know, and that's what any good astrologer, you know, that cares about their clients is going to do. They're not just going to sit there and tell them how fantastic their chart looks for an hour.
Because because it's incorrect. One of the biggest things that I have learned and really come to understand and have applied in my own life, it is becoming completely self-aware. And, you know, when we can have and feel comfortable enough to have somebody point out things that we're not aware of and be able to accept that, then we can work on those subconscious beliefs and breaking those self-sabotaging habits. And we all have the self-sabotaging habits. And you can see that in your chart where those habits are. And so, I'll let you know right now, if you're living in poverty and you don't have enough money to live on, there is a self-sabotaging habit that needs to be broken.
Yes.
If there is, if you are like, for instance, if somebody is too overweight for themselves and they're not comfortable with their weight, now there's probably something that happened in their childhood they're not even aware of, and they need to be able to go back to that time. But it's in their subconscious, it's not in their conscious, because if it was, they would know why they're not comfortable with their weight.
Right.
And it's always come to find out is something has happened between the ages of 0 and 13, right?
I figured that out, that it's something between birth and your first Jupiter return.
Right. Yes.
And that,
absolutely.
when I figured that out, I just went, when I was studying about Jupiter, and I was like, whoa, every 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, this happened at 12, this happened at 24, this happened at 36, this happened at 48.
Right.
And when you're lucky at 48, you get a Jupiter return, and then Chiron slaps you. So I mean, it's so fascinating, because that is, you can see the subconscious in a chart.
Absolutely, you can. And what's also remarkable, that you guys, is that really key in, because for the first thing is, as you said, that first Jupiter return is 12 years. That is 1 year per house. Okay. Your first year of your life, from 0, when you're born, until you're 1, right, is the first house, so forth and so on. And so, but really, I'll let you guys in on some more clues. Saturn and Jupiter are the biggest components of how your childhood was. And people don't even realize that in Jupiter really kind of rules over children, because our parents are raised in fragile years, is supposed to depart this wisdom, their wisdom, upon the children. People don't even realize. Look at the Jupiter. If your Jupiter is suffering, you've suffered. If it's afflicted or has a hard aspect to it, you suffered during childhood. You didn't get the imparted wisdom during your childhood that would have made you have a better life.
Right.
It just is. We all have it, you guys. And that's why you can well, why do they have such a beautiful life? I bet you their Jupiter is really, really good. Another one is
strong Jupiter, but that really wasn't my case growing up. Of course, it could have been so much worse. I mean, I had it in my head, but in my head, my strong Jupiter always told me things were better than they were. So there is where the subconscious.
Well, I tell you what, though, look back at how your parents handled stress. How was your parents completely emotionally available to you? And did they handle stress? Were they wealthy themselves? Because
no.
Even poverty, you guys, is even a DNA thing. We're not talking pie in the sky here. You guys, because these habits are DNA. And I'll give you an example. This is going to bring it home to you guys. All right. But the other planet, before I give you guys that example, another planet besides Jupiter, you got to look at your Saturn. Because if your Saturn is not acting well either, it can really screw up that 0 to 12 years also.
Yeah.
And Saturn is longevity. And especially if you guys are doing tropical astrology, no Chronos. Know your Greek mythology. Kronos is Saturn, you guys. And I have some secrets on that one. I've done
Oh, yes, you
I
do.
Greek but we'll have to get into that in another time.
Definitely.
I've done my Greek
Yeah,
mythology.
Yeah, see, I have a fourth house Saturn, and it trines my Jupiter. So
There
always,
you go.
one of the light bulb moments for me this week was I have always viewed my home life as better than what it was, because that's just who I am. I mean, I'm a Cancer. My home life is my world. And I have that prominent Jupiter, and it does trine my fourth house Saturn. But it can also be very deceiving, because it's what I tell myself because it makes me feel better.
Right. And now I would challenge you, Michelle. I would challenge you to take that back even a little bit further, because there was something in your childhood when you were really, really young that established that some type of event, some type of authority figure that helped you create that mind thought, that pattern and that thinking.
Yeah.
I am telling you, everything that we do is from childhood. And I'll let you guys know, from 0 to 12 years old, we were only a passenger. We were only a passenger. So whatever may have been happening in our world from 0 to 12 years old, we had no control over.
Right.
All right. And don't put blame on your parents, because I'm going to tell you that if they had incorrect or bad habits too that brought them down to a road of suffering, you know what? It's because they were that 0 to 12-year-old child too.
And that's one of the reasons why puberty starts around as well. I mean, it
Right.
all ties in.
Yes. But it really isn't. So when I say that breaking our habits, and I'm bringing up those 108 days, I'm bringing up that 40 days, you guys, I'm telling you, you're breaking it on a DNA level. You're breaking it in your energy pattern, in your brain, as well as physically. You will get sick.
Right.
And
now that's
what
another manifestation point then, of course, would be Venus, and utilizing Venus in manifestation.
Yes.
And going, okay, well, Venus, what did we say? Venus is currently in Libra. Oh, I got the chart.
No, yeah. Oh, yeah. We can look at the chart. Let watch us. Where's our Venus? And oh, I'm sorry. This is the other chart. Let me pull.
Yep. So Venus right now in tropical is in.
It's in Leo.
Leo.
It's in Leo, and
Yeah, so I mean, Venus in Leo wants the finer things of life. Venus in Leo is very impatient about the finer things in life. Venus wants it now in Leo. And I think right now, with this moon and with everything that's going on, everything else and all the planets in retrograde, and Mercury that's getting ready to, getting closer to going in retrograde. But I keep bringing this up because this Mercury retrograde is not going to be, oh, check your computers, back them up, dot your I's, cross your T's. No, this Mercury in Scorpio is going to drag a bitch if she's not where she needs to be. This Mercury in Scorpio is going to take you down under the water and hold your head under while you kick and scream for your life. And this Mercury is going to be full of downloads, uploads, leveling up. I mean, call it whatever you will, but this Mercury retrograde, during a time when our skies have never been hotter.
Right.
Mercury retrograde is
but a beautiful way. Yeah, a beautiful way to use this energy, you guys, is that you use it in a way that that you're being creative, that you are learning a new skill, if you will. sometimes remember that it's one thing to be spiritual, but if you don't have the creative intelligence, if your fifth house is not kicking in, you can't go anywhere. So make sure that, when it does go retrograde, do we need to have to learn something new, or go back and revisit a lesson that we need to, or a skill that we need to sharpen up? That's something that's really, really important about this. Now, I do have to also point out on this new moon that Venus is in the 12th degree, and being in the 12th degree is all about a.
Okay, you guys, we just switched to Vedic.
No, I'm talking.
Okay.
Venus is in 12th degree, and even though it's still in Leo, the degrees matter. Each and every degree has a different meaning in tropical. I'll have to share that stuff with you.
Yeah.
And so when a planet is in a certain degree, 12 houses are ruled by Jupiter, and it is also, it's just ruled by Jupiter. And I almost want to say the 12th house theme on it. Of course, that's ruled by Jupiter. So Venus is looking for definitely some pleasure, but she needs to make sure she's checked in. But it's a really good placement also, because Venus is exalted in 12th house or in Pisces. I don't know if that's in tropical though, but I didn't think, man, sometimes I can get things a little bit crossed, but Jupiter is very much a higher learning, a higher thinking type of planet. And it being in the 12th degree that's ruled by Jupiter, Venus is very majestic again. Venus wants food, Venus wants money, Venus wants happiness, and Jupiter's not about that all the time.
Right. Uncle Jupiter.
He's a little bit stressed out.
Yeah.
So she needs to learn to use that creative intelligence to really bring down the higher wisdom. I mean, this is the way I read it, because we have a flavor of Jupiter in there, and it is taking that intuition and those bigger ideas, it's bigger than you, the higher wisdom, and bringing it down to something that is creative and, our intelligence level. So we may need to learn a new skill or learn how to apply it.
Right.
So we can do a Virgo thing with it, right?
Right. Yeah, and that ties in perfectly with what I was saying about the nodes as well right now. Because it is about, what are you learning?
Right.
How are you applying that knowledge? How are you sharing it? Who are you teaching?
Right.
Who are you being taught by? Who are you listening to? Where is what's grounding you while you're listening and while you are learning? Because we really need to be mindful of that. I mean, especially right now, because, there isn't a single person that knows anything about astrology that isn't like, hold on to your asses for the next 4 months.
Right. I see, January we'll start getting some relief, but it's just not going to be easy until January. But as I said, if we really do the internal work, and really work on ourselves and focus on our goals, you guys, if we focus on our goals and what we're doing, then I think we can make something absolutely fantastic out of this energy. Yeah. I'm going to flip over to Vedic real quick for my Vedic people.
Oh yeah, please do.
I apologize. I need something to drink.
I just had to turn on some light because I was just sitting here by candlelight.
Oh, in the dark, right?
I need some more light.
So, and this is where, maybe you guys can see where the Vedic is going to really flow into the tropical astrology. So what we have on this new moon in Vedic is we got Leo rising, and Leo rising again is all about creative intelligence. Leo wants to be happy and be creative and having some fun. And, of course, it's ruled by the sun. So when we go into the second house of Virgo, we see that we got of course, the new moon in Virgo, and it's in Uttara Phalguni with Mercury in Hasta. And so this is all about definitely a second house theme. Money, Taurus rules the second house. Venus is there. It's all about making money and manifesting, but with it, it's according to our values. And so if we align our daily habits, because again, Virgo, daily habits, okay? And we are aligning our values, what we think is valuable with our daily habits, that's where the manifestation comes in. So this is really what this is asking us. We've got Mercury in Auslatia all the way into the 12th house, but this is really calling us that maybe we're going to be doing some foreign business. Make sure you're open to foreign business, all right, and working with foreigners. 12th house is foreigners. 12th house is long distance travel. Also with Venus in that particular nakshatra of Auslatia, which is ruled by Mercury, it's really asking us to really get down and know our truth. Don't get wrapped up in somebody else's wisdom or truth that's not true to you. Look out for the lies and the deceit. You need to know who you are. This could be a very healing nakshatra as long as you're grounded and you know who you are. But I think that Mercury is giving Venus a tremendous amount of support to really manifest. And, also, I tell you what, the 12th house is about being isolated and working from home too, because where are we? We're isolated. So during this new moon phase, we know that whoever's going to really pick it up and create money and do some manifestation, it's going to be done in isolation. And it's also going to be done that we're going to be working with foreigners. It just is what it is. And it's in that sign of Cancer. And, Cancer, though, is all about home. Cancer is all about that state of mind that we have and really tapping into and our unconscious behavior, our subconscious behaviors, if you will, because it's in the 12th house. Let's not be blinded. We need to listen to other people. Find that guru, find that teacher, get your astrology chart read, listen to them, because there's some subconscious behaviors that can be blocking you and you'll end up having a loss, right? Yeah. So either lose your subconscious behavior or lose money or lose business. So this really is about us digging into our subconscious behavior and changing them. Because 12th house is where people are blinded. So that's how it really kind of, also with tropical. So when we're reading, it may be in a different way, but it's saying the same thing as a tropical chart. And then Jupiter is going direct. So this is something that's really, really awesome. But I tell you, and I've told you guys this before, Jupiter is about heads are going to roll. Justice is going to be served. So whoever was corrupt and wasn't doing things correct, Jupiter is coming down on officials and the government's head.
Well, it's, in the same respect, it's coming down on heads of households. It's coming down on the boss at Wendy's. I just randomly picked that out of my butt, what I'm saying? It's coming down on the heads of. So if it's a head of a household, head of a department, head of head of the project, head of whatever.
Right.
That's
one of the things that you see with this in Phalguni, you see officers come from here. You see investigators. I mean, Jupiter, Sagittarius is nothing to mess around with.
No, it's popes, it's clergy, it's it's the head of whatever.
Mm-hmm. The heads of the state, right? And we've got Saturn retrograde in Capricorn. Capricorn's all about what we're bringing out to the world. It's our government. But one of the really good things I have to tell you guys right now, that Saturn does do well in in Capricorn. It is its own sign. I think it's also in Capricorn, also in tropical. But here's another trick. When you're looking at astrology charts or the current transits, all right? This is true, and I've said this more than once, and I'll tell you guys again. Jupiter is creative.
Mm-hmm.
Venus is creative. You put Jupiter and Saturn together or an aspect or Venus, you have manifestation. And I'll tell you why. How do pearls get made? Pearls comes from Venus, but Saturn is time. Pearls are not made overnight. Diamonds is Venus, right? And
Also not made overnight.
That's right. That's right. So without Saturn, they could be as creative as they want, but how does it come to manifestation? So I have to ask everybody, how's your root chakra? You better ground into that puppy, because we want money. And in order to get money,
the seed of our soul is our root chakra.
Right. So Saturn is really letting you guys know he's strong. Don't look at it as a negative, even if he is in retrograde right now. That's not what he's saying. He's saying, look at how you're manifesting. Look at what you're doing right now. What are you bringing out to the world? Look at things, correct it so you can manifest. That's all he's asking of us to do. And, we've got Mars retrograde in Ashwini Nakshatra, and he is really, really strong where he's at. And I know that's a square right over to Saturn. But you guys, you know what? Those squares make you move.
Yeah.
And I know people don't want it's a square, it's a hard, no, it's those hard aspects that make you move your ass.
Well, and especially when that hard aspect is being made by Mars, which is all about move your ass, and now that Mars in retrograde isn't necessarily not moving super fast for one, by Mars's standards.
Right.
It's like, I'm so mature, but the first thing that comes to mind is it's like a Scrooge McDuck walk. When you watch Scrooge McDuck around Christmas time, and he takes Tiny Tim by the hand and flies him back.
Right.
Whatever started happening in your world around around June-ish, May, June, when March entered Aries. I think it was May. And what was going on then? Because now Mars is going to take you by the hand and walk your ass back through what was going on over the last 3 months. And it's going to take a stop and go, what'd you learn here? What'd you learn here? And if you're conscious about doing that while working with your subconscious of your needs, desires, your subconscious, your hidden 12th house needs, desires, wants, strengths, all of that, Mars can really, really be very beneficial right now during this retrograde for you.
Yes, yes.
What does Mars want to show you? And again, you go to your Mars mansion. You go to what house Mars is in for you, and what do you need to learn?
Right. Yes, absolutely. So I think
when Mars goes forward, bitch, you better have it. You better have those lessons. You better have them learned. You better, because you already went through once and you backed up. So the third time is a charm. And you can't, go ahead and miss them if you want, but no thanks, man. I'm too old to be missing lessons.
Another really good example of really, so you guys know what Mars and Saturn looks like together, and why I think they do so great together is that Mars is that 2-year-old or that 1-year-old, right? Now Saturn's the grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
And when grandpa is with the 1 or 2-year-old, Grandpa has to move. We don't care how tired Grandpa is.
Right.
He's moving because that little kid's getting into everything.
Right.
So that's really, and so Mars really does help Saturn get off its, get off and get moving. So I think those are always really, really, really good aspects to help get things done. So also, in this chart, again, we got Rahu and Ketu, Mula Nakshatra, and Rahu is in Mrigashira. And, this is all about communication. And again, Mula is all about defeating your enemies. And, I have to say, though, are you your own worst enemy?
Right.
So really, you need to defeat your subconscious.
Right.
But be cautious, though. At the same time,
I mean, that's where being kind to yourself comes in. It's like, especially because who else is our worst enemy besides ourselves?
Right.
There is none. I mean, we are in control of who stays in our life, who goes, what job we work.
We forget to practice that control.
We're in control of all of it. So, of course, when you're growing up and your mother screams, "You're your own worst enemy." Oh, no shit, Mom. Aren't we all? I mean, that's just the truth of it. But are you learning these lessons while Rahu and Ketu are here?
Right.
Are they, because you said basically the same thing. It's like, in Gemini, it's like, it's higher learning. It's, but are you listening?
Right.
Are you listening?
So, and this is really on the individual, people who want to manifest can manifest, people who just choose, no, this isn't going to happen for me. Really, it is your own choice. And I know so many people want me to do fortune telling, and I'll tell people right now, when I read charts, this is about change. This is about you changing your life and taking control of your life. This is what astrology should be used for. It's not fortune telling.
Right.
I mean, that's what a miserable way to live. Like, you're waiting to do something until you until a certain date. No, off your guff and make it happen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can somebody give us a date and say, I'm gonna get married on such and such a date? Now, how do these transits look for my wedding, such and such? Yes, you can look at those transits, but am I ever going to tell somebody, you want to get married October 11th? Ooh, don't do that.
Right.
No, I'm not going to be that. I'm not that person. I'm not going to predict your future when you have everything you need at your fingertips to make your own future. You don't need a prediction on your future.
That's right.
And of course, what's the number one question? When am I going to fall in love? I don't know. When are you going to love yourself?
Right. That's when you fall in love, when you learn to love yourself. And that's not a a selfish type of love. It's really a loving yourself really means that you're accepting yourself and all your faults. It's a total acceptance. This is who I am, and being okay with that.
Acknowledge them, that you acknowledge the faults alongside of
all the good stuff.
God, don't ever leave out the good stuff,
Right. So so this is really, you guys, such a great manifesting new moon being where it's at. It's remarkable. And if we use the energies of this, and especially, with it being in the rising sign being in Leo, and the rising sign in tropical is in Virgo, but this is really, really about, because, the planetary alignments between the tropical and in the in Vedic, if you read them, separate, they still will come out the exact same. You're just approaching it in a different way.
Right.
it's just remarkable. But this really is about taking creative intelligence, you guys. So it doesn't mean sit and meditate and have an idea drop in your head and you don't know what to do with it, right? So creative intelligence, study, 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 learn, learn, learn. Don't ever stop. So when those ideas come into your head, then you understand what you need to do with it in an intelligent level. And then you could bring it down to your throat chakra and you could tear it all apart, put it, organize it, being able to communicate it and put it into some type of really tangible service and bring it out to commerce, bring it out into a business and create money, create something that's tangible and that's good. Really, this is what it's teaching us. We can do this. We can do it.
Right? We're doing it.
We are. Don't be giving up if something gets tough on you. One thing about Mars being retrograde, any planet being retrograde doesn't mean that it has to be bad. All right. I understand that when we're 0 to 12 years old, 13 years old, we didn't have control. These are subconscious beliefs that we have to change when we are grown-ups. That's just a fact. Okay. Don't be crying over spilt milk. Some people's lives are easier than others, but don't cry over spilt milk. It means that get busy changing that in your very DNA with your very actions, not just meditation. But when a planet is retrograde, it's really, really strong. And once we revisit and relearn those lessons, and sometimes we have to do it more than one time, once we get it, we get it. Right? And now we can run from it. So it doesn't mean, oh, my planet's retrograde, it's no good. That's not true. That's not true. That just means you're going to go through something more than once. You're going to revisit it more than once, but you're going to perfect it and you can propel forward with that.
Exactly. And the next time that Mars goes retrograde in Aries, hopefully it's going to be a lot easier. Because once you walk through, it's like comparing your 30-year-old Saturn return to your 60-year-old Saturn return.
Right.
There's one of two things going on usually. Usually your 30-year-old was hell. And that means that you're going to have everything straight by 60. Or you breeze through your 30-year-old one and shit's going to crop up at 60.
Right.
You don't get out of both Saturn returns.
But again, it really goes back to what have you done?
What have you done?
Saturn, let me tell you, Saturn gives exactly what you give. So let me give you an example on that. Okay.
Yeah.
If you go and give a homeless person $5, but you give it out of contempt, or you give it out of like, oh, here's $5.
Fine, take it.
Right? How you're going to get it back, by the way. I'm just letting you know. It's just, that is the law of nature. That happens no matter what. So you're still going to benefit because you gave that homeless person $5, but it's going to be coming back to you in that negative way.
Right.
So are you going to give good? Are you going to give with a happy heart, or are you going to give with a bad heart or a bad heart, right? It really depends on, if you put in 25%, you'll get back 25%. If you put in 50%, you get back 50%. If you put in 0, you get 0. So the people who have a hard Saturn return, it means that they didn't put in anything, or they put in just very little. But let you guys know, if that's happening, it's because you didn't put in. You don't realize you have complete control of your life.
Right. Your return on your investment is going to be exactly what it was for the last 30 years.
ROI. That's a little bit of accounting.
That's a little bit of Virgo.
Accounting's all the same. It's a balance sheet, you guys.
There you go. There's another key phrase for Virgo. Return on investment.
Can you tell I'm very Virgo?
Yep.
So.
Yeah, hello. I have a progressed sun and stellium in Virgo.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I'm really feeling it now. It's kind of interesting. You know, I read for a lot of younger people. And of course, I rarely check their charts because if they're between 20 and 30, you know, there's not, I mean, they're progressed charts. You know, every now and then I'll glance if something's not making sense, you know, or if they've asked a specific question, what about this area of my life? And I'm just like, gosh, nothing's really jumping out at me. Then I'll check out the progressed chart, and that's usually where I find it.
Right.
Like I said, if I can't find it at all, I'll message Sam and be like, okay, where's it at? But to you know, to check that progress chart, because I am totally so thankful that right now in my life I have a progressed Virgo stellium and a progressed Virgo sun. I am so thankful that I am not a progressed Cancer sun.
Right.
You know, that I've learned all of those lessons, you know,
Yeah.
as I progressed from Cancer to Leo to Virgo sun.
Right, right. Yeah. And, you know, just let, you know, people who know Vedic versus when she's talking about a progressed chart, she is kind of talking about what we would use in Vedic as a dasa period. So, and there's the differences. So there's so many techniques that are the same. They're just used a little bit differently, or they're called something different.
Right.
And, you know, and also just let you guys know, there are some techniques that you can use in Vedic that they use in tropical astrology. I really do, and it comes out so true every time I do. So there are some interchangeable techniques that you can use with both the systems. It's pretty remarkable, actually.
Yeah, it really is. Well, Sam, we have
We did.
for over an hour and a half, like we always do. We can talk about anything.
That was just a lot of fun. I hope that everybody got a lot of information on what they can do and really understand what this new moon is asking of them. I tell you, if you guys do it right and stick in there, even on the bad days, do it anyways. That Nike swish, just do it. And that's such that's a Virgo thing too. Just do it.
Well, you know, in all of the fear right now that is surrounding, you know, and being fueled by this Capricorn 3, you know, having Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto.
Saturn can bring in, oh yeah, Saturn and Pluto. Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and then the United States is coming up on its Pluto return, which looks very interesting. But it's a different show.
No, but that's what we're seeing right now.
It really is.
All of this, and there's going to, you guys, there's going to be a remarkable change in America, and everybody though is kicking in that survival mode. This is when people know if you're in fear, if you're scared, then, and if this has hurt you financially where you're scared of surviving, okay, then you do know, absolutely be aware that there is something in your root chakra. There is something in your sacral chakra. There's something between that 0 and 13 years old that you're not aware of, that you need to really change and do that work. And that means you're aligning it and taking action on it when you find it out. Because people who've got their root chakra going really, really well right now, they are not hurt financially whatsoever.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
you know, and then of course there's the luck of the draw. You know, some people just really got lucky with what kind of jobs they had, and you know how they were able to
call it luck. I'm telling you, that's subconscious sabotaging.
Yeah.
I just like, man, when I really learned how this energy works, I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, I totally get it now. I understand that you guys, you can turn your life around. This is a chance to like, okay, I have this going on, I have that going on, and I'm going to take action and I'm going to fix it so you never have to go through it again.
Right.
That's the key.
Ultimately, isn't that what we want to be the outcome of all of our hardships?
Yes, yes.
You know, it's like, God, I don't want to ever be here again. So
That's right.
what do I do to avoid being here again?
And this new moon is showing you.
Yeah.
This new moon is asking you to take those exact actions so you're never here again.
Right. Yeah.
Perfect.
Love and kindness. The new moon
Yes.
is giving it, showing us the way.
That's right. Let's do it.
Definitely.
So just let you guys know that we're going to be doing the regular Friday Venus day. I always do a Venus day on Fridays just to kind of recap the week on what's happening and what's manifesting in our life, and just kind of wind down and have some tea or coffee, maybe a glass of wine. It is Venus.
It is Venus after all.
So, but we want to thank you for joining.
So much for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for coming on. And Michelle is going to be joining us on Saturdays on the transits. So that's going to make it a lot more fun and entertaining. We're going to really start hamming things up. Today was, just our the new moon special. So it's kind of our introduction. And then, of course, I haven't quite officially asked her if she was going to be joining me on my on the Venus days, but she'll have to make
Rabbit, I might.
it'll be a lot of fun. Just make sure you bring a little bit of coffee, tea, or whatever you enjoy drinking, and it's always that Venus talk day.
You never know what's going to come up, because Venus reminds us a little bit about sex.
Yes. And Venus likes to socialize.
And it's Friday after all.
It is, and Venus rules Friday.
Yeah.
That's why
I was born on a full moon Friday.
So wonderful.
All right, my dear. I will talk to you soon.
Okay, namaste, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Happy new moon.